Hey guys, this is a segment from the Slumpbuster Podcast. You can find the full episode on any of the various podcast platforms, or of course, subscribe to us on YouTube for more of our content. Other than that, guys, sit down, bust a slump, and enjoy. Now, I could harp on how Mitch Trubisky was drafted ahead of Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, but I'm more mature. I've grown to add more nuance to this conversation by saying, how the hell did they draft Mitch Trubisky over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes? I mean, come on. Awkward.
Makes no sense.
But this team finished 8-8 last year. They had a big 2018, won the division, and if it wasn't for a double doink, they might have been, well, maybe the NFC Championship game, just playing conservatively there. They did rough up the Rams previously in one of their regular season matchups that year. But at 8-8, is this team going to make an improvement? Because one of the big storylines following them, aside from Mitch Trubisky, is regarding Mitch Trubisky, is they didn't pick up his fifth-year option, and they also traded for previously of Jacksonville, previously of Philly, previously of Kansas City, previously of Los Angeles Rams and the St. Louis Rams, Nick Foles. Nick Foles, one of the more unique careers in NFL history, as he's been a backup, he's been a starter on a Super Bowl championship team, and now he's could potentially be the backup for Mitch Trubisky. So who's winning that quarterback job, and what does that mean for the Bears?
I think it's still going to be probably Mitch Trubisky. I just haven't seen a whole lot from Nick Foles outside of the one good season, right? Or not even the one good season, like, the one good stretch of games that he had in the playoffs for the Eagles. So I still think Mitch Trubisky wins the starting job. I think the job is his. And Nick Foles, I don't have a whole lot of confidence anyways in being the backup. So if Trubisky either gets hurt or gets, benched, I still don't see them improving very much. And I think, that's just going to be where this team struggles, is they're going to have to live by their defense, but their defense is also getting older, right? Like, they traded for Khalil Mack a few years ago. He has been fantastic. Their whole defensive core, their linebacking core has been great, but those guys are all getting older, and we know how hard defense is on the body, right? Because you're literally hitting somebody every single play when you're on defense. And so I do worry about where this team is. I still don't think that they can put it together offensively.
Well, there are reasons to be optimistic about the Bears on both sides of the ball, aside from the quarterback position. So they did sign a big-time edge rusher in Robert Quinn. Now, Robert Quinn had one splash season where he had close to 20 sacks. And for the most part, he's been pretty average throughout his career. He's been a good pass rusher, not a great one. But when you add him to a Khalil Mack, that really puts a great tandem. That's one of the league's best pass rushing combos that you can ask for. And on the offensive side of the ball, so the new offensive coordinator is going to be Bill Lazor. He's been with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's kind of floated around the league. He's one of those Andy Reid coaching disciples. And then you have John DeFilippo, who was the OC in Philadelphia during their championship season. Or actually, he might have been the quarterback coach. He was the OC briefly for the Minnesota Vikings following that season. The big problem there is he wanted to throw the ball. Mike Zimmer wanted to run the ball. So that was a little bit of a fight between those two. He went to Jacksonville himself, so he has familiarity with Nick Foles. Either way, you have some very talented offensive minds coaching the Chicago Bears this year. Some minds that won Super Bowls, like I mentioned, with whether it be the Eagles or were part of some winning teams with the Chiefs. So do you think that these guys can turn Mitch Trubisky's career around if he is going to be the starter there?
No, I still think Mitch Trubisky is going to be limited, honestly. Like, I think he had one pretty decent season, but again, like, just the skill set that we've seen from him hasn't translated very well into the pro game. So I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who his coaches are, doesn't matter who he has, as offensive weapons. I think he's just a limited quarterback.
Inaccurate, athletic, but not athletic enough. Maybe a backup, but this year, he's either going to be a backup the rest of his career or he's going to be out of the league considering his fifth-year option wasn't picked up. I think he'll get a second chance somewhere else because he was a top 2 pick after all. Okay, so Bears, from 8-8 to what, Dre?
I actually have them regressing. I have them going 5-11.
Oh, okay. We are separated on this one as I actually have them improving and going 9-7 this year. I do think that this division, similar to the AFC North, is going to be one of the better divisions in football. I think that defense with the addition of Robert Quinn is going to be stout. They're going to impose their will on the quarterbacks and offensive linemen this year. And Mitch Trubisky is going to be decent. He's going to be good enough, similar to how they were in 2018, where they weren't winning games with Mitch Trubisky, but he was decent enough to carry them.